Good evening, everybody. This is Mike with Alpha Shark. It is Tuesday, the 12th of June. It's been a long, long week already. And for tonight, I thought, guys, we'd do something a little different. I've done a lot of webinars in the last 2 weeks with you guys, and I usually try to teach you stuff. And I thought we'd just try to have a very intimate conversation tonight about the markets and where we're at and how things look here and go over charts and maybe just try to have a conversation and talk about things and try to get a little bit into what I'm seeing and how I feel about things and why I feel these ways and give you some insights and thought maybe that might be helpful a little bit. Hey, Don, welcome. How does that sound? Something a little bit different that probably not enough people do like something like that out there. Simon, how are you? So a little different tonight, okay? Next time we come back, we'll do some teaching. We'll teach you something else. I've done a lot of that lately. Uh, I don't know about you guys. It was a long day with Thinkorswim going down for 2.5 hours. People who were here in my service, you guys saw me. I took a trade because the charts were down on the bid and ask and was just trading the numbers like an old ticker coming across in front of me today on X. So that was not fun. In fact, I got up. I had 1,000 shares. I got up about $275, except I couldn't get the fill to get out and got stopped out for a $30 gain where my stop was at. And that's how bad TOS was today. Another tip for you guys: when you have a day like this with TOS, you call them up and you complain, and you'll get free trades. Oh yeah, it was it was nothing important, Cat. TOS was down from 10 to about 12:30 during prime trading hours of the day. Just before 10, they went dead. Yeah, Larry, I did, but I don't day trade normally in that account, and I was in day trading mode today. I do have a backup for that as well. I have another account. So it was tough. All right. So anyway, a lot of people are stressed out. My tip to you today, guys, is if you had Thinkorswim, you call them up. They're going to give you some free trades. Everybody likes free trades, right? So there you go. So if you want to get a hold of me, it's Mike at smartoptiontrading.com or Mike at alphashark.com. On Twitter, at optionsmike. And I'm going to pull this up. This is what I look, that's me there. You'll get this profile. You know where I'm at, so you can come in there and follow me. I post tons of stuff for free there all the time. And on YouTube, YouTube at Options Mike, I post my videos and stuff up there. You can catch that. So one slide, and then we're out of slides, guys. Day trading, short-term trading, options trading, and futures trading are extremely risky undertaking. They are generally not appropriate for someone with limited capital, little or no trading experience, and/or a low tolerance for risk. Never execute a trade unless you can afford to and are prepared to lose your entire investment. All trading operations involve serious risk, and you can lose your entire investment. No trades are recommendations or advice, and we cannot be sued for losses of capital. All trades are for educational purpose only. Contact your broker or RA for execution margin and other capital requirements. Everyone watching this presentation adheres to all disclaimers from alphashark.com and myself, Mike Pisani. All right, that's that. So let's have some fun today. So first off, how's everybody been doing? Hopefully doing well with the markets, making money, and going from there. So let's start off quickly with the SPY. Go grab it. I'll pull up my chart, and let's have a little conversation about the SPY. So going into tomorrow, guys, there's a lot going on this week, right? And you guys who were in my webinar on Saturday, I told you I think this is a very noisy week. And by people, I've been saying be very careful. So what do we have tomorrow? So everybody should know what's tomorrow going on tomorrow. Everybody should know this. Fed, right, FOMC. Most importantly, what happens after the Fed meeting tomorrow? More important. Don, I see your question. I'll get right to it. Well, forget the rate hike, Walter. That's kind of built in. Forget the bounces. Nope. There's something very important that's happening tomorrow, specifically after the announcement. Market tanks. No, maybe. Thank you, SM. Presser. We have a press conference tomorrow. Okay, that's really important because every time Powell has opened his mouth, the markets react violently to the downside. So we have a press conference tomorrow at 2:30. The announcement's at 2. The press conference is at 2:30. So this is me saying to you, think tomorrow before you jump on stuff after the initial reaction. Does that make sense? Because this will go to 315. So Basically from 2 to 3:15, we're going to be stuck in this period of Fed hell. You guys follow me? Right? And the market doesn't like Powell yet. They don't like him. And when he opens his mouth, the market does not like how he talks at this point. They do not the market does not feel he's friendly towards them at this point. They don't like him. Okay, what happens on Thursday morning? And we're trying to set a stage here. What happens Thursday morning before the markets open? SM, I know you knew that, right? You're in my service. Who else knows that? If you're in my service, you should be watching the videos. You would know this as well. ECB, SM's got it. Nope. ECB. We have the ECB decision on Thursday morning before the markets open, and then Draghi has a press conference when the markets are open. Okay? Big stuff. Ed, you brought else up. What else do we have going on? Ed, say it again. You have oil, right? Russia and Saudi Arabia are getting together Thursday. I think it's Thursday night, Ed? Thursday night for Friday morning. So we have a little bit of that oil meeting going on before next week's major meeting of OPEC on next Friday, which is huge. We'll talk about that. And then what happens on Friday? What makes this Friday special? Might as well go on vacation. Quad witching, Gordon, you got it. Quad witching, monthly expiration, quad witching. So we have a really, really, really rough couple days here, graduation parties. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to tell you, lower your expectations here for the rest of the week. Does that make sense? There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of stuff going on the next 3 days. And, we could see reactions. We could see nothing. Most likely, we're probably going to sit here and go sideways and do a whole lot of nothing. And my guess is over the next 3 days in the markets in general. But we'll find things to play. But this is not a time where I'm thinking about a lot of risk until next week. Don, you brought up a point. Let me go back to that. I saw that, and I don't want to lose track of that. Do I think the merger from AT&T is going to kill Netflix? You're right. Netflix got absolutely shellacked on that. There was some very strange reactions on this, right? Come back to the SPY in a second. This is a good question. So AT&T got hit hard, even though they won the lawsuit, right? Fox A is up nicely on that because they're getting bought out. Disney's down. CBS was up, right? Because they're rumored to be bought out. Netflix was getting killed. Netflix is getting hurt here. I'm not really sure 100% why, Don. I don't think this is a Netflix killer. I think this is just a knee gut reaction here. I don't know. I thought that one was a little weird. Does that make sense? When I looked at this, I thought that one was a little bit weird. The rest I saw, that one was just to me a little bit off. Yeah, this I get. Yes, they were buying CBS this morning, Chris. Early in the morning, they were buying weekly calls on CBS. So they got paid. But it was a binary event, right? Yep. So I don't know, Don. I don't see how this really badly affects Netflix because they weren't getting bought out or trying to buy anybody out. I kind of thought that was just a weird play, but we'll look at it more in a minute. I think it's a buying opportunity. So back to the SPY. So what do I want to tell you guys about the SPY today? We've had this nice big move off this last hit of the 200-day, right? So if you come back here, now let me get my inspection up. Okay. Right, when you look at things, we came from 258, we hit 279 and change, right? This nice move for about 6 weeks. That's a very large move in the SPY. Yeah, I know they're competing against Netflix. We'll come back into that. This is a nice big move. I've been outlining and I've been saying now that I thought 280 was our next spot in resistance. And, we just missed it the last 2 days, right? We've missed it by, under $1. We're right there. We're a little off the 8-day here. We're riding the top of the Bollinger Band. We can still go higher. We have room. But to me, what I'm starting to feel like here a little bit is, doesn't the markets feel a little tired here today? Right? The last 2 days, these candles are a sign of indecisiveness, right? You have a reversal, you have a topping candle yesterday. You have a candle today. We pushed down lower, then came all the way back into the close. To me, this is a time when I look at this and say, this is a time to be a little bit cautious. And not to get short, but to say, I don't know what the markets want to do here. They may still go higher. You know, we could blow through 280 next week, right? And then go make a run at all-time highs. But we could also come in here and go sideways again for a bit, or even come back and retest this area. And this area is important. This is where we broke out from. 274.25 is where these markets broke out from to begin this last leg up here. That would be, if you retested, if you came in, that would be the spot you want to hold. So if you're making notes at home, you should write that down. That's the spot you want to hold. You hold that, and then the markets would look bullish. And you know why I say that? It's because remember the IWM did this? Right? The Russell did this. This is the same thing the Russell did. And so you got to look for clues sometimes when you go around. God, I have too many tickers up here sometimes. Here we go. Right? So the Russell here, right, we broke out, and then this candle here, see how it came down and it retested and held? Right? So if the SPY did that, that would be extremely bullish for another move higher in the SPY. Does that make sense? And it would not really cause any long-term damage. But it's certainly a time to be aware that if it was going to do that, or it possibly did that, you don't want to be caught in a lot of option plays, or especially short-term option plays, which are vulnerable, right? Don't have time to recover. So this is a time when I say to you, with the rest of this week, I'd be careful. I would, not that I wouldn't take trades, I'd play smaller. I would not use a lot of short-term instruments in my trading unless I'm willing to risk it all, right? So this is where you say, Mike, I'm comfortable trading weekly options and understanding that I'm willing to lose it at that point and go from there. Honestly, when I look at the SPY, it looks fine. It's just starting to feel a little tired up here. And then I go and I start looking at some of our indicators, right? So you guys are always saying, where do you get this stuff from? So when I want to get to Google, the CNN Fear and Greed Index, all right? It's fear and greed. Type it in. It comes up right away. And there it is. We're at 65. We're at 58 a week ago when I did my last webinar with you guys last Tuesday, right? The free one. So we're moving on up. We're not way overheated, but we're getting there. We're getting hot, right? So you can see that. Yeah. Keep your ad to yourself. So we're getting up there. We've moved way off of here. It wasn't long ago that we're down here close to zero, right? So sentiment's getting a little hot. Not bad. Then I go to stock charts, right? And I always show you guys this. You come here, oops, not stock charts, StockTwits. Right? And I want to go look at sentiment of traders. That's people like you and me. So I put in the SPY. And here I go look at this and say, okay, it says, I'll make it bigger. There we go. 57% coming in. So sentiment's actually getting a little bit bearish. This is not a bad thing. I like when that starts to happen. I look at the Qs. Right? 72% also slowly cooling off here. 73% also slowly cooling off here. I like that too. I like when sentiment starts to come in, because when people start going the other way, it usually means we're going to move the other ways at some point. Market, when you see this stuff moving before the market's coming in, it usually means that retail's wrong. All right. And the IWM is really interesting. Look at how much sentiment's cooled off on this in the last week, right? Massive cool off in sentiment. Go back to our chart. IWM put an all-time high in today. Sentiment's dropping hard. Interesting. So what do you call that? You call that what? Divergences, right? So we're starting to see some divergences here. When I start seeing some divergences, that makes me say, I need to be a little bit more careful. It's a sign to clean up some of your positions. Clean up stuff you don't have long-term profits, long-term goals on. Clean up anything uncommitted, right? You ever heard that expression? Clean up your uncommitted longs? Right? When a market's trending or going in the right direction, it's easy to stay with stuff. When you start seeing this, this is the sign to start taking some things down. The one thing I want to stress to you guys, and I keep getting this a lot, there's been many people out there lately talking to me about a black swan event, that we're going to have a black swan event. And the truth is, black swan events, they're called that because we never know when they're coming. Nobody sees it for the most part, or very, very few. And if you look at this market, it's been very good at giving you clues to take risk down, right? And we'll start up here. When you look at this market, this run on the SPY, this candle was a blow off type, right? Look how hot we were. It was screaming, right? This market was screaming. Look at the RSI. We were 90 just about before that sell off. Telling you, careful. It's too hot. We were way off the 8-day moving average, screaming, careful, right? And then what did we do? We came down and we went sideways for 2 sessions before we fell off a cliff. It actually gave you time to get out if you were paying attention. You guys see that? Do you understand what I'm saying? All right? And then if you look at these moves, every time we came up, it gave us a reversal candle. It told you on these days to get out. The market gave you signals on all these tops that maybe it wasn't ready to go higher. And if you were paying attention to this market through here, you knew it. You would see it. You would see that it was saying that. Do I know on this one? Yeah. I was pretty much out. I lost very little money on this move, and I was telling everybody in the service starting about here, SM, that's not good for me. I started saying around this point to be very, very careful with your longs at this point. And we were hedged at that time with VXX puts into this as well, which is one of the conversations that's coming up tonight too. Okay, so the market gave you reasons. All right, so we talked about the SPY, and this is why I'm saying it's not necessarily over, but the market's definitely looking a little bit tired here, a little bit choppy. All right. We go to the Qs. I don't know about you guys. I love when the Qs lead. When the Qs lead, that's when I tend to make my most money, right? When those names are in play, they can move. They move well. They're, love staying with them. Why can't I find the QQQs? Am I losing my mind? Power shares, QQQs. There we go. Okay. All right. Qs, which had been trailing through this stretch in here, has now back to an all-time high, right? So the SPY is the SPY and the Dow have yet to get back to all-time highs. Max, into the February sell-off, I had let me see if I can find it for you. I had very little on at that point, Max. I had taken most of my profits at that point. I had a couple of small call positions on, but they were very small at that point in time. I'd have to go to another spreadsheet I don't have here in front of me, but I had very little on. Yeah, so yeah, the Qs here, you're right. So Hitesh is saying that the Qs are flirting with RSI. It is. The one thing you need to know about the Qs can go above 70. The 70 is not an automatic sell signal, Hitesh, for the Qs, right? Because of the names in there. And what I'm seeing in the Qs today, we'll go over it, is we're seeing rotation in and out of individual names instead of the whole index at the same time. Okay, but you have to look. The Qs gave us a pullback to the 8-day and held, right? So the Qs gave us some weakness and held in, is now coming back up. Looks good. I like the Qs. I like some of the names in there, how they're handling. We'll talk about that. And then we go to the VIX. The VIX is telling us there's no fear out there right now, right? When you look at this chart, there's no fear. So this is where I look at you and say, if you want to keep a lot of risk on, why not take a VXX hedge against it? Volatility is low. Calls are cheap. The VIX can change on a dime, but it's cheap here, right? You want to hedge? Go out and get some calls. You looking for something? Go out and get some, I don't know, from 37, 38 calls, and I wouldn't do the 38s. I'd either do the 40s or the 37s because they have volume there. And hedge. Buy some of this and hedge against it. Go out in time. Get a hedge in place. All right? I'm sure there's not a lot of guys out there saying you have a hedge right now. It's time to start talking about volatility is low again. Put a hedge in place. Yep. So, put a long term, but get time. Put some time behind it, and then don't worry about it. So you can do that. All right. So markets have been good, and then we got to go look at the oscillators, right? And we always look at the oscillators. So, you guys can do this yourself, but here's your NIMOT. What I love about the last couple of days is the coming down. Look, we cooled off from over 100 on the New York Stock Exchange oscillator down to 68. Nice little cooling off with almost no damage done to the market. This is healthy, right? What we love is the more this comes down without the market coming down, it makes it harder for us to get that massive big time flush. Bill, for me, if I'm going to put a hedge on right now, I'm going to September. I want to cover all of summer, maybe even October, right? What do we know? He's asking what time frame do you recommend for a VIX hedge? What do we know? What do we know about the markets, right? Everybody, September is usually the worst month of the year historically. I'm not saying it's going to be. So I want to capture that. I want to capture any down moves we have in the summer there. So I want time on my side. I want to let it be able to go. But again, the purpose of a hedge, hopefully it expires worthless. That makes me a happy camper. When a hedge expires worthless. NAMOT, the NASDAQ, look at how much this has cooled off, right? So we're seeing this kind of rotation in names, allowing these oscillators and allowing things to cool off without the markets really coming in. This is a good thing, guys. So what I'm seeing out there, we're seeing some divergences, we're seeing some kind of tiredness, but also we're seeing a market that has just a lot of news this week that's probably just not sure how to deal with it. Does that make sense? And I already started seeing it this afternoon in the options market. Huge amount of options being rolled out already. So they're already starting to get out there and starting to move these things out today, which always makes me happy. That makes my Fridays on options expiration day a little bit easier to interpret. Okay. Let's look at some sectors, and then we'll go into individual names, and we'll let you start pulling some names up. So first of all, let's start with the one that has the most news coming at it for the next couple of days, and that would be what? The financials, right? Talked about this on the podcast today. I think sentiment here is getting very, very negative on the financials. To me, there's only a matter of time before they eventually come back for this, but for whatever reason, they don't want it here. It used to be the banks would run into the Fed meeting, right? We get a couple day run up right into the Fed meeting and then maybe sell off after it. They tend to run into earnings. We haven't been seeing that either. So there's just a dynamic change in the financials here. They don't want them right now. They're going sideways. They're holding okay above the 200-day, but there's just no power, no juice here. At some point, I think these wake up. I don't know what it's going to do that's going to get them going. But right now, what you know is you have a gap up above here. You have the 100-day, which is dead resistance right now, right? You can see the 100-day, we cannot get through it. And as it's curling down, we're curling down with it. So there's obviously a bunch of sell programs since this date back in here that are set up on the 100-day. And they keep selling against it. So, off the 200-day, you can go long, or even off this candle, right? This trend line. This trend line down here is, slide it forward, right? Right there, right around 20, let's call it 2670 area, roughly. Okay, you have strong support on any move down there to try longs versus that. Right, you can see multiple times now we've tagged it and held it. Good place to give a try. But the banks have no power. We're going to talk about tomorrow. I mean, to me, the 0.25% interest rate is already baked in, right? I think everybody kind of assumes that's going to happen tomorrow. Does anybody out there not think they're going to raise rates tomorrow? Nobody's saying anything, so I'll assume you guys all think it is too, right? That would be the shocker if the Fed didn't, right? If the Fed, hey David, how are you? If the Fed didn't raise. So, look, I think everybody will be looking tomorrow at the raise and then really looking for the language for the rest of the year. So we'll take an eye on that. So to me, the banks here, it's going to be hard for the SPY to really get going without the banks at some time participating in it. You want to know why the SPY is trailing and it's not at new all times with everything else? Because the banks, look how strong they were into January. The SPY and the banks, the ETF, don't look all that much different, do they? Right? They're very similar. Both are struggling to get going. Okay, let's talk about another sector that's big component of the SPY and especially the IWM and in the IWM. All right, that would be energy. So first things up, we had crude numbers after the close, right? You guys know every Tuesday night we get crude numbers at 4:30. And come on, really? Okay, sorry, my C, my C key's going. I have another keyboard. I have to put it on. Okay, isn't that special? All right, so you can see we sold off a little bit more afterwards. Here we are bouncing a little bit, but you see that was the spike down. All right, bigger bill than expected. Okay, so the crude still nowhere, right? And what I'm looking at with crude, guys, here is that, yep, speak about an extra raise, right? Crude is we have Russia and Saudi Arabia meeting to talk about production tomorrow night. I'm sorry, Thursday night and Friday. And then the real big meeting is on June 22nd. And that's when OPEC gets together and they're going to discuss whether they're going to raise output or keep it the same. And that's going to really be a big determination on what happens with oil here. Obviously, we've reached the point where demand is outstripping the current production rates, but it's kind of a game. These oil producers, they want the oil prices to go up and stabilize, but they know if it goes too far, it'll hurt the economy, and eventually they'll hurt them too. So they got to find that mixture. So oil here is not helping us right now, and the reason that's important is because for the energy sector to get back going again, it probably needs oil to start turning back up again. And right now, we can see after putting this high in, we had this big move down. We've covered some of it. We filled this gap, right? And now we're going sideways. We're still holding the 8-day, but there's no power here, right? There's no momentum here. So this is another large sector again that's out of play. This makes things a little tough for the markets, right? When you look at things, does anybody know what happened with a specific name today? Is anybody paying attention to what happened in the middle of the day? Okay. Schlumberger, there's an energy conference going on the West Coast in San Francisco. Schlumberger was one of the presenters, and in the middle of the presentation, they guided down. I know I have this here somewhere. There it is. Ugly. All right, so they guided down in the middle of the day. Big, ugly candle today. That had spillover effects into other names. And there's other names that are going to be presenting tonight and tomorrow there. MRO's there, Valero's speaking tomorrow, Will is there, Rig is there, right? So you have a bunch of these guys that are up and over there. So you need to be aware that tomorrow there could be more noise out of this group, depending on what they do in either direction. Okay. Part of why I'm saying this to you is, one, we have to get everything to count, but also you need to be aware of these things. If you're playing these names, you need to be aware when they have something like this going up. And just be aware that it's out there and be prepared to take action on it. Yeah, they all got hit. I think what happened on them is it was a little bit of a spillover effect, right? They all kind of got hit on that news, right? Rig as well. A lot of them got beaten up on that as well, Tashi. So they worried that is not just Schlumberger that's going to guide down. They're worried that all these other names are going to guide down as well. Okay. What's another big sector we like to look at? We did the banks, Chris. How about bio? We'll come to the chips. How about biotech? Right? So what's interesting to me here is the IBB has slowly been working its way back up here, acting a little bit better. What are some other ETFs in that space? Right? XBI, not quite acting the same. not moving as well, right? So to your point, what's going on out there, Larry? There's some names that are getting some action, some that aren't, and some of those names are moving the IBB, but they don't have the same weighting in the XBI. So biotech is slowly trying to wake up and get going again. Look at the XBI. Look at this thing sitting here at a triple top, right? Triple top, trying to get through. History tells if you get through a triple top, you generally get a decent move. Lebu, although Simon, I would not recommend anything other than day trading Lebu, okay? Lebu is a day trading vehicle. It's not really meant to be held long term. It's leveraged. It decays. It also decays every day, and you pay. I think it's at least a 6% fee to sit in that thing. So just I think annualized over a year. Okay, so put that in your mind. So biotech, yep, biotech is trying to wake up here, and not Lebu, not quite to the triple top. So another sector that's trying to get going here. How about retail? Right? Retail had a massive move. Most of us missed this because we weren't looking at it. XRT, exactly, Larry. That's what we're looking at. So this sector woke up. But now look at this up here, right? Is this a time to be entering into retail names? Or at least the sector in general? You can look for some names that haven't participated, right? But you don't want to be chasing this move up here. This was the move here, right? This move's done. Right? This is not the place. In fact, today you have a candle saying, I'm not sure I want to go higher. Doji candle out of the Bollinger Band, way above the 8-day. Not a chance. This is where you should be taking profits. You should be getting out here. Okay. How about the transports? How the transports been doing? You know what? Let's go over here. What is the symbol in TOS? I don't have it there. I always have it up. Now I don't have it. Where did it go? I swear I hate this program sometimes. I used to have this thing right on top, and now it's not there anymore. And DDG. Oh, well, I don't see it. I don't know where it went. IYT? There you go. Thank you. IYT. Thank you, SM. Couldn't find it. All right. The transports, they're up. New 52-week high here, but it's been on very limited stuff, and it really was based upon a couple names. It was FDX that has been driving it, and a couple of the rail names. But a lot of them have not been participating either. And then you have UPS guys that has a potential strike on the table. What the hell was that? Must have been something from there, an ad. Sorry about that. Anyway, so the transports haven't gotten going. So what you try to do, guys, is go around and paint a picture overall of the market and ask yourself, where are they going to rotate to next? Where else? You said the semis, right? SMH? Right? SMH is kind of going sideways right now. Had a nice move. Yeah, CSX, thank you, Larry, had a huge move. We'll come over that, right? Huge move in the rails. Right? Kind of going sideways, not quite ready to get back, right? Can't quite recapture this high here, right? If you remember back when we came out of the correction in February, the semis are one of the things that propelled the Qs to a new all-time high. But right now they're looking a little tired here. They don't have the same power we had before. Okay. You guys brought up China names. Yep, China names started to go. So I don't know about you guys, but today's Chinese names have woken up. The North Korea defense names have been on fire. So there's just a lot going on, a lot of undercurrents in this market. So where do you want to start tonight? We have a little time. This is how I kind of looking at things. So when you see me start putting charts on Sunday, I'm starting to go through all of this. I'm starting to formulate a plan in my head and looking at what's going on. Yep. So let's talk about some names. First of all, you nailed it. Micron has earnings coming, right? Micron has big time earnings coming. We've had this huge move, and I showed this chart tonight. And if you're not paying attention to this, sometimes you guys need to bounce out of a daily chart and go to a weekly. Micron, okay, 2 years ago was $10. Thank you guys. And this was I did hit the record button, didn't I? Yes, I did. 2 years ago, this was $10. We're all the way up just shy of 65, right? Just shy of 65 here. It's going to take a lot to keep moving this needle, guys. And we've had this big run. It looks like it's gone a lot. And what else has had a big run during this time frame on a weekly chart in the semi space? Nvidia, right? Look at this thing, right? $20, 260. These names have exploded and gone. How about a a name that doesn't quite get the same type of play, but okay, don't spill coffee in your keyboard. Okay, Intel, quietly a nice move here. Everything's starting to participate. Okay, nice move in Intel. So the semis all look good. They've all run quite a bit. How about AMD? Did anybody catch AMD? Look at this move, right? Look at this move off this low back here in April. Huge move. Congrats, Arthur. Nicely done. I don't use a scanner, Bill. I use my eyes, and I use other things I'm looking around out there. I've thought about a scanner. I may try one of these days. I have not yet used one. Okay. So huge move. Nice move in this. Not the time to be chasing it all the way up here, right? Wait for a dip. If it comes back and retests this 1440 area, then you give it a shot. But up here, you don't want to try this. It's too far. Too far gone. So this is gone. Let's talk China names, right? So what's everybody's favorite China names out there? LRCX, didn't they have really bad earnings? Lam Research, right? Oops. I have another keyboard right here. I just got to plug it in, but it'll take time. LRCX had bad earnings. They've been beaten up on it. Not ready to go. All right, let's talk BABA. I love BABA. You know what made me more upset about anything than today? I was trying to buy BABA when it crashed, when TOS went down. I'm not kidding you. I was trying to buy calls on it. BABA, beautiful move. What I pointed out to everybody, it reheld the breakout, right? Here's the breakout spot after going sideways, went up, came down, tested this breakout right here, held it, and now here we go again. Here we go. Well, where's our next stop? Looks like it wants to go higher here, right? BABA looks great. BABA is one of the best in names. Who brought up JD? JD's had a massive run off that buyout rumor after shaking everybody out of it. How many people got shaken out of JD after they had that rumor that one day and then they pulled the name lower before they took it off, right? Raise your hand. I'll raise my hand. JD shook me out. I made money on it, but it shook me out and I didn't get back into it. All right. Right into here. Buyout rumor. Couldn't get through. They pulled it all the way down. They broke below here and then they went nuts, right? Double bottom. See the double bottom? 1, 2, 1, 2. Double bottom. Now look at it. So somebody was saying it hasn't run a lot. JD's run a ton, guys. This is a huge move. Look at today. Nobody saw this. I didn't see it because I couldn't see anything. You held it, Peter? Nice job. Well done. Anybody who did. So this name looks good. How about a name that drives us all nuts into space? Starts with another B. What's a name in this space that trades horribly and is just one of the toughest names to trade? Baidu. You got it. Baidu. after looking like a world beater yesterday, comes in and takes everybody out in the gap, right? This name is tough. This name is one of the tougher names in the space. It does not trade easy. It is always trying to shake everybody out of it. Point blank, I lost a little money last week. I lost a little money on it yesterday. I got shaken out, but I made it back today on a quick trade on the first 5 minutes and was gone. But that said, I do not trade this name well, but it's on my radar. It's on my radar because this thing has a gap here up to 280. Yep, JP, I'm with you. And you know what, guys? This is where I tell you, if you don't trade a name well, take it off your radar. Don't trade it. Don't worry about it. Okay? Don't do anything. So some of these names look great. The chip makers we went over, they look good. By the way, NVIDIA, one last one I want to talk about there, resting flagging here. Did it do anything after hours? Didn't they have their shareholders meeting tonight? Nope, nothing there. CRM did, I know that. Oh. Damn keyboard. Okay, we can't do any stocks with the letter C in it. All right, CRM, no action here afterwards. Okay. All right, so Bazoon, Momo, two other good names, right? Momo, by the way, faked a lot of people out. Beautiful call buying on this day, gave another move, holding okay. That guy in the July 50s is still there. So keep an eye on that name. Looks good. You brought up Bazoon, another name, Chinese names, like these names have all woken up. Looks great. Couple names that haven't gotten going there yet that don't look good. Vips. Vips looks like death. Vips cannot get going. Okay? How about WB? Struggling to get going. Okay? So some names there that are tough. So, you know, everything's not equal here. You got to try to stick with the stronger names at this point. What are you asking me about, Don? Thoughts on retail? On retail, I'd be very specific here. Like names like Kohl's at this point that have run a ton, I'd be a little careful about with a hot RSI. Same thing with a name like Macy's, right? Huge move, flagging nicely, but run a ton. That said, Walmart, I would watch for some type of reversal, not acting special here, though. They keep buying calls on us not working, so I haven't taken it, be point blank. Target got an upgrade today. This one looks good. This one might be able to get another push higher, Don. What else did I see something on? Was it GPS? Gap? Gap, yep, they were buying calls on this one today. This one had a nice move. Costco, is it? Yeah, except you're trying to make me type a C. There it goes. It worked. That's what I was trying to avoid that there. They're up on the way up. This is a new all-time high for Costco. Costco looks very nice here, breaking out into blue skies. So I like that. You're bringing up some other great names. BBBY's had call buying. It's in that gap. It's just about filled now. Maybe it has enough room for one more push up to this 21 area. So that's not a bad name either. A little hard to chase it up here, but it doesn't look bad. EL's had a fabulous move. My friend Katie is like rocking that name and doing great with it. She bought it back down in here, having a fabulous time with that one. She's a fabulous trader too. She loves buying retail names. So these all look good. Name that has still not acting well, Ulta. Right? This name still just not acting well, not acting special. RH, you bring it up to me, Jeff. Fabulous name. So what propelled this move today? Why is this name up so much here? Yeah, it was earnings, but what specifically? Yep, got it higher, Gordon, right? Earnings, Suresh, earnings OM. But what made this move so huge, 20-something% up at this level? ASU win, 35% short squeeze. Huge short interest exploded this name higher today, right? Because all these shorts got trapped and they were doing everything they could to get out on the open. Okay? Somebody asked me about, right? So that's what it is. You want to understand why something moves like that. Now you know it, right? So look for names with short squeezes. If they have good earnings, look to jump on them the next day. Somebody was pointing something out on there out there. I'm trying to remember who it was a little earlier. Somebody brought one up, and I don't remember it off the top of my head. If I remember it, I'll post it on Twitter later tonight if I find it. Okay. So let's talk Tesla. That's a great name. Let's talk about Tesla because everybody's on Tesla. So Tesla had this massive move, right? It's moved what? About $70 in a week and a half. Okay. Beautiful move here. First off, when you look at this chart, what do you think when you look at this thing today? Yahoo. I'll show you in a second, SM. Exhaustion, Mark. Don. Over, down, right? What is it? It's gapping up. Look at the 8-day. The 8-day moving average is all the way down here at 316, 317, 317.55. This thing was at 355. That's nuts, right? It's too far. It needs to cool off. So how did they cool it off today? Right? What two pieces of news came out on Tesla within 20 minutes of each other? Anybody paying attention today? Job cuts. You got it, Jo, right? 9% workforce reduction. Yep, Peter. What else? There was one other thing that a lot of people did not pick up on. No, something bad with Home Depot. Tesla will not renew their deal to sell solar tiles through Home Depot. Okay? All right. So you got two of them back to back. Does this mean that this move is over? I don't know. This has a huge short interest, but would I be buying it up here? No. Would I be shorting it here? I might do a cute short on it if it really came in tomorrow, but I'd be careful. It's got a lot of short interest. It can squeeze. It's heated. It needs some time to cool off. Somebody else just brought up another name that had a huge short interest. All right, VRX. Who's been paying attention to VRX? Nice. All right, VRX weekly chart. Look at this move. Right, it's got room to here. Let's call it 31 for argument's sake, right? That's your next potential area. Doesn't mean it's going to get there really quick, but it can. Guys, Larry, Mark, perfect. Thank you, SM. Not Larry, you too. Nice. You're making money on it. You're doing good with it. Fabulous, right? This is a name with another large short squeeze, right? It's just grinding. Is it overheated? Yes. Are they squeezing the shorts? Absolutely. Somebody was asking me, how do you get short information? Well, there are other sites you can pay for. You can go to finance.yahoo.com. Type in a name like VRX. And see, there you come on. Come on. Okay. Statistics. Share short ratio, percent short from the prior month. Right here. It's all right here for you. All right. So if you didn't know that, now you've learned something. Right? Another name. Right? So these are names I have. You're welcome. Guys, my point when I do webinars, guys, I love when you guys subscribe for my service or have me help you out. But my point is to give you stuff to be able to find on your own. I never want to try to give you stuff that you can't get out there for free. Yes, there's sites you can pay for to get this stuff a little easier and faster if you want it. But you can get this stuff for free if you're willing to do just a little bit of work. Right? Not hard to do. Even stock charts, where I show you all that stuff on, you can get that. Stock charts has a free version. You can get this stuff for free, like the oscillators. So I show you this stuff because I'm not trying to make money off of you. I'm not even trying to sell you guys anything tonight or talk to you about selling tonight. I show you this stuff because it's just easy to do, easy to go out and get for yourself. Yep, FinViz has short interest, Mark. Exactly. So you can get it and FinViz has a free portion of their site as well. Thank you, Don, both of you. Appreciate it. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left. What are some other names we should look at here? Let's talk about Google today. Did anybody quietly notice? I see your RTN. We'll look at that in a second. How's that? Anybody quietly notice that Google closed at the highs today in a weak market? All right. Very quietly, held in all day. Boy, is this on my radar for the next couple of days. This name has a history of getting big moves into options expiration. All right. Nice move in this one. Looks good. Twitter, BA. Okay, let's talk RTN. Let's do RTN. Raytheon. So, Raytheon, in theory, should come in today, right? Because of what happened with potential peace in North Korea, right? Isn't that what we're all talking about? Right. So is the move in Raytheon over? I don't know. Personally, right now, I would see how it handles the next day or two. I wouldn't be in a rush to buy it unless you're feeling really risky, but this is distribution, right? Look at this volume. This was big distribution here. So I would, yeah, it's been flat here for a while. I wouldn't be in a rush to buy it. If you really feel it, I don't like the options on Raytheon. They're not the easiest to trade. But, you know, this thing could easily come back to the 200-day, which it has not seen in a long, long time here. So I'd be a little careful. I don't think it's completely toast yet, but it's certainly not a good thing for it. Let's do Boeing. Boeing's one of the names that's on my watch list. Boeing, Cat, and Deere. Why? Because these names, the industrials, have not yet really participated in this rally that we've had here. Yep, Boeing's back to an all-time high, but it really hasn't been having any kind of power like we had in here, right? Just kind of grinding, going sideways, looks great. They keep buying weekly calls on it. So Boeing's on my radar tomorrow. Maybe not till after the Fed, but maybe for the rest of the, for the rest of the week. Boeing looks good. How about Cat, guys? Have you guys been looking? Oh, damn C key. Which one of you broke my cat and my C key? I'm just not having a good day. Cat, another name, almost all the way back up here now. On my radar, broke through this area. Can it get going here again? They're trying. They were buying calls on this one today. Deere. Right? I point these out because nobody's looking at these. You guys, a lot of people get stuck with just looking at the high-tech names and the beta names. I try to point these out because, guys, there's a lot of other names out there, and some of these names can really, really move. Somebody brought up Twitter. I love Twitter. I made a ton of money on Twitter. I will be the first person to tell you I missed the last $4 of this move. Yeah, I have some shares left that I'm still up on. I've owned them since 17, but I had no option exposure left for the last $4 of this move. I'm okay with it. At this point, I would not be touching this thing. Today, when it gapped up, I didn't even look at it. Yep, you could have played it today. It had a huge move, but this thing is screaming hot here at this point. For me, it needs to cool off. And this thing, look at this. In August, September, here, we're trading at 16 coming into October. Into November, we're still under 17. We're now almost to 45. Needs to cool. Needs to cool off a little bit. Love the name, but needs to cool. What else? Knox, LNT, yep. I don't know when they're going to start turning up on that one. They just need some help. TXN? Nice move. Kind of a double top here. May need to rebuild here. If it continues to hold the 8-day and curls up, I'd try to take it in for a break of that top. Square. Love Square. Didn't see it today because I had no visibility on it because of TOS being down. New all-time high here. I keep saying this name, every dip to the 8-day has been buyable since here. This thing has not closed below the 8-day since back on May 7th. There you go. So for me, on this name, you got a dip to the 8-day, you give it a shot. Roku, Amazon. We're running out of time. Roku, had a nice trade on Roku yesterday. I closed it out, took my profits, inside day. One thing about Roku, it very rarely gives you 2 days in a row, right? So here, what you have to watch for Roku is you have a gap here. Gap starts up here. So if you're playing Roku, you try to play it for a move to that gap at 40, let's call it 45, 44.50. and then you get out, because by the time it gets there, it's going to be extremely overheated. And something like this, the first touch of it, if it's overheated, is probably going to get stopped dead there. Let's do Apple, since somebody brought that up. We talked about Micron already. We already did that, went over that. Uh, Apple here, today it was trying to wake up, right? So if you look at it intraday, this thing tried to wake up today. It's trying to fill this gap, want to go higher. Apple likes to pin, and the one thing I'll tell you about Apple here is if it likes to pin, you have to look here and say, where is it likely to pin? 195, we'll see how much of this they rolled out today. It looked like they rolled a lot of this out. We'll see tomorrow. Or 190 for this week are the two numbers that are most likely to pin at for me. But Apple's trying to get going. It's still hanging in the game. It looks good. Microsoft is flagging. It's holding the 8-day. It looks a little tired here. I don't even have to look at it. We went over this one the other day. Microsoft, nothing wrong with it. Just flagging, still absorbing that down candle. We'll see what it does. Two names I want you guys to keep your eyes on. XNet woke up yesterday on big volume. Unfortunately, it gave it back today on just as much volume, which is kind of a blah. This is the type of action that'll drive you nuts in the name, right? Huge volume up and just as much volume down does not make anybody happy in that name. We'll keep an eye on it. And then OSTK's tried to wake up today. These two names have been trying to get going again. See how this handles this area if it does the same thing as that. Bill, I prefer directional positions. I do not like to play around with spreads, but really it's all about however works for you and whatever you like and whatever is your favorite way to trade. Can Twitter follow the Facebook path? Sure. I mean, the problem with Twitter now is that trade's getting crowded. Even Jim Cramer came out today, right, and said, I was wrong on Twitter. This is at least a $50 company. When I start seeing like that, I know that space is getting a little bit crowded. Make sense? Weight Watchers, we'll do that one, Don. I know you like that name. They got an upgrade. They got initiated this morning with a nice buy. That was that gap up. It was a big initiation. Who was it? Let me see if I can pull it up. Overweight at JP Morgan. That's with that move. I don't know how much more that one can go at this point. It's had a big move. Another name I'd just be careful with here at this point. Guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight. I thought this was something a little bit different, just talking through things, how I see things and how I look at things on a weekly basis, what I'm looking at. Just something different. You guys are welcome. Did you like it? Different format. We'll do this every once in a while. Fabulous. So, before I run, tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, a lot going on. I'm not saying don't trade. I'm just saying please think a little bit more carefully, maybe play a little bit smaller, right? Just think a little bit here. Hey, Randall, how are you, buddy? Long time. Just be a little bit more careful the next couple days. Let's get through the next couple days and see what this market wants to do, and then we go from there. Doesn't mean don't take trades. It doesn't mean don't try things. It just means be a little tighter. Be aware there's going to be things moving, and tomorrow especially, probably by 11 o'clock, the market's going to go dead until the Fed. So just be aware. Oh, thank you, Mark. Appreciate that very much. Have a wonderful night, guys. Thanks for joining me on this Tuesday evening, and I'll catch you all the next time. Take care.